Hey everyone, welcome back to Nordly Stitchy Corner. I am so sorry it's been such a long while since I posted a video. I actually had to look back and I haven't done anything since late November, which is awful. Again, really, I have no idea how it's already March. I barely have any memories of December, January, and February, really. And I really owe you a video. The whips that I had from November, I don't think I even worked on a lot of them because I started a few new ones, which I want to show to you today. Excuse me for not showing my face because the lighting here is awful, and whenever I try to film myself, half of me is in shadows. So I've decided to put my whips on my couch. It's right under a big lamp, so hopefully you can see this fairly okay. And today all I want to do is to give you a March update of my projects, what I've been working on. And this one here is a small project I started, I think towards the end of December. I got a little bit bored with the big pieces I was doing, and it's this little adorable little lamb sampler. It's from the Drawn Thread, so let me try to put that up here. And it's a very cute little sampler with a little poem. It says, "Little lamb," I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, the glare is not working, so I'll just read it for you. It says, "Little lamb, my gentle friend, gives up his coat as snow begin to make my mittens, scarf and hat, and I stay warm because of that." So as a knitter, I really love this pattern, and I decided to change the colors a little bit because the original pattern is very green and white, and I wanted to use some of the some of the most silk I have, as well as stitch it on a beautiful piece of blue. I think this is just regular even weave. I can't remember where I got it from now, but it's a nice piece of blue with some darker patches of purple and some lighter patches of white. So I stitched it for a little bit and then I kind of put it away, and I haven't touched it since. One day I'll pick it up again and finish it. So another project that I also started is from Ink Circles, and this is the Squid, what's it called? Sorry, I'm shaking because I'm trying to grab the chart with one hand. So this is the Elegant Squid chart, and I started this project because I was traveling for work for one day and I wanted something really simple that I could bring with me. And this was really simple because there are only two colors, and it's a geometric pattern, so it's fairly easy to count. So I picked up picked out another nice piece of fabric that is also hand dyed and also blues. I used some floss from Stranded by the Sea, which is hand-dyed cotton floss, and I think the company is now out of business because I couldn't really find much information about them, but they do come in these beautiful floss cards. I picked up a lot of them from Facebook. Give me 1 second. And here is one of the floss cards from Stranded by the Sea, and they have beautiful names. Like this one is called Sea Nettle. Trying to get this to focus here, and this is the complementary color I've picked out. That's gonna be the seaweed. That's gonna be the background for this piece. So I worked a bit on it, not during my travels because stupidly I packed the entire project. And then in the morning, I worked from home because I had a flight in the early afternoon. And in my rush to pack everything and to answer emails and get ready and whatnot, I actually forgot my Ziploc bag with all my stuff on my table. So that was pretty stupid of me. But anyways, I worked on it for a little bit when I got home, and I really like it. So hopefully I'll be able to finish it soon, really soon. So the other thing I also worked on, and this is what I mostly worked on in December and throughout January, I think. This is the tiger from the, I think, cross stitch collection by Paul James, and it's amazing. I love it so much. Sorry, you can see here where it's like rolled up because I stitched it in hand and I was rolling up the fabric like this, but luckily it's all DMC, so I can just wash it and iron it, and I'm pretty much done, except you see this little patch down here? This is supposed to be all backstitch in this brown color, and I ran out. I ran out because I've ripped out a lot of the what's it called, the half stitching here, because I was using just regular half stitches and it kept on pulling the fabric, and then I tried the other one, I think continental half stitches, and it still pulled the fabric, and then finally in the end I left this to the end. I used the basket weave variation, which finally worked out, but it uses so much floss that I ran out of my original 2 skeins. So I have to go and buy one more skein of 3021, and I haven't gotten myself to go to the Michaels because unfortunately ever since Mary Maxim closed down in Toronto, that's the only place I know that still sells DMC floss locally. The other source is to go all the way to Giddas, but that's in Mississauga and I don't have a car and I have to pay for a GO train. So one day when the winter is finally gone away and it's not so cold, I'll make the trek out to Michael's and buy that pitiful 1 skein of floss. But for the rest, I think it's an amazing pattern. It's not a very complicated pattern. Like there's some confetti, but not crazily so. But it's like I find that the tiger is just beautiful. It looks like a real tiger. You know, it's kind of astonishing that you can get this real life tiger from a bunch of like cross stitches, like a pixelated thing. I do have to say the back stitches for the whiskers drove me crazy. First of all, it was kind of hard to see it on the pattern because it's overlaid on top of the actual chart, and really I know a few chart companies actually give you 2 charts, one with the regular cross stitches and then another one where the cross stitches are much lighter, but then the back stitches are very prominent, and that way it's so much easier to see where you're supposed to be going. And this one was extra hard because I had a hard time determining which, because they overlap each other a lot. So I had a hard time determining which whisker should overlap the other one so that it would look natural, and then they travel big distances, and should I couch them or not, which I didn't. I just let them sit flat. And definitely at the end when it's all done, the effect is phenomenal. So if you like tiger patterns, I would highly recommend this one. Very realistic. I'm very happy with it, and again, one day I'll just really finish it and get it framed properly. Okay, so this is the really only project that you've seen from my previous videos that you're gonna see again, because I started a whole bunch of new projects. So somewhere in December, I started the Twisted Rainbow sampler that everyone is doing, and I knew I really wanted to do it. I got the silks from Thread Pickers. I got their rainbow silk pack, and I decided I got both patterns. I bought both the Twisted Rainbow as well as the regular one, and I thought I liked this one better. So I started with this one, but I also, got another piece of fabric if I ever wanted to stitch the twisted rainbow as a companion piece, but for now the twisted band is amazing. So I've said multiple times I would not stitch on black fabric again, which is a lie because clearly this is black and I couldn't stay away from it. Let's go a little bit closer. I really like the Thread Picker Silks because she has created the perfect gradient, I think. You see, in here, there are actually two colors, one a dark red and one of a lighter red, and you can kind of see the transition here, but it's very, very subtle. And I really like that because I don't really like it when the transitions are very harsh. Like for instance, in the butterfly, there's actually two shades of yellow. So I really like the gradation, and the silk is just such a pleasure to stitch with. I'm using one strand over two on 32 count Lugana. And the specialty stitches are not too bad. I find that her instructions are very clear, and I generally try to do one or two on a little practice piece, and then right away I'll have the hang of it. It is a little bit difficult sometimes to try to figure out the half specialty stitch version. For instance, at the top here, this one, it took a little bit, a few tries to make sure it kind of looked right, and I kind of have to make it in the context of the whole Smyrna cross, which is what that stitch is called, and that kind of like give me the confidence that yes, I did the half stitch correctly. So and it's actually really fun. I love doing the specialty stitches. Just because it's so entertaining and they go pretty fast. But then honestly, this is only the beginning of it, so it wasn't that bad. My pet peeve with this project though, and I'm allowed to have them, I think, these are just my opinions. I didn't like that it was, you had to count quite a bit to get to the starting point for your next band, and it wasn't always very clear to me exactly which hole you should start it in, because the big chart that shows the how the stitches are related to each other and how the bands are placed, the big chart might just show a specialty stitch as like one symbol, but then that one symbol could be 6 by 6 stitches across, or 9 by 9, or whatever the specialty stitch calls for, and that symbol is then explained in a detailed chart of the appropriate stitch size. And that made it kind of hard for me to figure out what is the beginning hole to start my stitch. And there were a few times where I actually had to rip out an entire band or rip out part way through when I realized that I was one hole off. So I was either one hole to the right or to the left, or started too high up or too low, whatever. And it's kind of annoying when you have to do that, because the silk, you kind of have to throw it out after you rip it out. And in this case, it's not such a big problem because there's plenty to go around, but if I did it with one of the big bands, then I would be worried that I would run out of silk. So yeah, it's a very interesting design to have it on the diagonal, but I would say be very careful where you place it, because there were a few times here where I had to rip it out, including here. Yep, the reason I stopped here is because I did this entire band of the ray stitches and the rice stitches, and in yellow and green, all of it all the way down, and I was almost done with the green, as you can see here. Sorry, my camera doesn't like to zoom in very close. So I got all the way down there when I realized that it didn't line up with my edge. So I hope you now understand why I'm a little, bitching a little bit about being very careful where you place the first stitch, because it really is not very apparent when you go all the way across the band until it's really too late. So what I have to do now is to rip out the entire yellow and green band, which I am so not motivated to do. So ever since that happened, I've rolled it up and put it away in the naughty corner. And maybe one day I will have the energy to go through it again. But it really is a shame because I really love it, and I love rainbows. And so one day I will finish it, but not now. Because around the time that this happened, my birthday came around. My birthday is on January 23rd. And this year for my birthday, I got a present from my boyfriend, a cross-stitch present. I actually told him what I wanted, and he bought it. That's how you have successful, happy relationships, by the way, just so you know. I'm just joking, really. So anyways, I told him I wanted a chatelaine kit. I really admire Martina's designs, and I thought that it would be a good occasion for me to start one of her designs. And so at the end of November, when Cindy from European Cross Stitch had her sale, he bought me the kit for the Holland Springtime Mandala. So that's what I started on January 23rd, on my birthday. I had a lovely stitching weekend, and this is how far I've come in, let me try to pull this down a little bit, in the last 6 weeks or so, because honestly I've stitched this exclusively. I haven't touched anything else since that date, and I regret nothing. It is so, I can't really describe how beautiful it is. But I do want to say though, so I started from the center, because I think that's the most logical way to start, at least for me, for Martina's design, because a lot of her mandalas, they have a clear center and then they have panels all around it. You can do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the other little bits that go around it, and then the big border around. So everything is logically laid out that way. So I started from the center, and I got the amazing kit from Cindy at European Cross Stitch. I got all the flosses in the kit that she sells, except for the NPI silks. The NPIs are just straight up, what do you call it? Straight up solid colors, and I wanted to substitute those with DMC to keep the cost down a little bit. But you know what? And I really wanted to, as a newbie silk stitcher, and especially after Mrs. Milky Bar Kit has talked so much about her silks, I really wanted to try out the different brands of silk. So far for my other projects, I've tried most silk. I've tried the thread picker silk, and then this one is amazing because it comes, let me see if I can show some of it. It comes with Gloriana, which is lovely, amazing to work with. There's a few colors of that. And then it comes with a bunch of silk and colors as well. These are, I find, a little bit more muted. They're not as variegated as some of the Glorianas, but again, awesome to stitch with. By the way, I really admire Mrs. Milky Bar Kit ability to tell what silk is which, because I can't. I think they're just all amazing to stitch with, and I can't really tell whether something is Gloriana or silky, silken colors or dinky dyes or whatever. They're just all amazing. So then the other ones, there's, let me see. Oh yeah, there's the water lilies, which are just awesome. The variegation of the water lilies is just to die for. I think of all the ones I have here, I like the water lilies, the variegation best. There is the Petite Treasure braids, which I'll have to revise my opinion about the Cosmo metallic floss, because the Petite Treasure braids are really the best metallic to stitch with. So when stitching with these, I do what other people do as well, keep the length short, use thread heaven. I go up a needle size, so for this fabric, which is 32 count, I go up to 26, and that really does help. And yeah, my biggest problem is really threading the needle because the ends do fray really quickly. So for some people say you can just fold the end double and then push it through the eye, but that never works for me. So I just try to keep the end as smooth as possible, thread it as soon as I cut it, and that seems to help a lot. And then I just try to keep it on the needle and not let the end slip from the eye, because then you have to retread it and it's such a hassle. So then, yeah, I also mentioned dinky dyes, so there's a few of the dinky dyes as well. And I think, yeah, that's all the different flosses, silks that are used in this project. So I'm really enjoying stitching with that. And other comments I want to make about Martina's design is that you see the black that outlines this piece? I stitched that last of this centerpiece. And when I saw her chart and I saw that it was supposed to be black, I was like, oh, I don't know. It doesn't, everything up until that point has been all these beautiful pale blues with some bright turquoise thrown in there, and then suddenly the black just seems so harsh. But I stitched it anyway because, she's a designer, and I gotta say, she is so right, because the black just makes everything else pop so much more in comparison. So if any of you, if you haven't stitched your designs yet and you come across something and you're like, oh, I'm not really sure if that will work, you know what? Trust her. Just go with it. In the end, the results are going to be amazing. So after the center, there was the border of tulips and little purple flowers, which I think are hyacinths. I'm not sure. I'm not really good with flowers. So those were really, really fun to stitch. And then there is a border of some metallic with gold, and then these little pylon-y things you see are actually windmills, but the windmill part, the cross part, is done in beads. So I haven't done that yet. I haven't done any of the beading. I'm saving that to the end because I am stitching it in a Q-snap, and I don't want to crush the beads. The big yellow border. Oh, that I have to say, if I had to pick something about it that I didn't like, it's probably stitching the yellow border, because the satin stitches were such a pain. You really gotta make sure that the stitches, the thread lies really flat, because any little twist is so noticeable, and they kind of offset each other. So one time they go like this, and then the next one it goes like that. And there were a few times where I just wasn't paying enough attention and had to rip it all out. So I'm glad that that border is done, and I really hope there's not too much satin stitching. I think I've discovered now my real nemesis in specialty stitches is satin stitches. They just go much slower than I want. Some other specialty stitches, I don't know if this is really not a good camera. There's a Jessica stitch in that corner, which is this big thing. It took some practice, because in the Jessica stitch, like if you have a 9x9 square or whatever the size is, you're not stitching from square 0, 0. So you're skipping a few, and you have to go around, and the corners are bare. So that's a little bit different from a lot of these other specialty stitches, where you basically go up every hole, the next hole. So for instance, these little brick-like stitches are very easy to stitch, because you just keep on going around into the next hole, and you fill out the entire rectangle. So this is the first panel. It's actually astonishing because there are so many different shades of green and other colors in here. This combination of silks and regular DMC, and on the chart it's a little bit annoying to stitch, I would say, because you have to really count well and make sure you don't make any mistakes. But once it's done, the effect is just phenomenal. And then, you know, you have these long stitches, back stitching, which is just grass, and it just, you know, when you put those in, it just brings the entire piece to life. Here's another one where I had doubts, okay? And you can call me Doubting Thomas if you like, but so when I pulled out this thread, it was a pale purple. And I knew that they were supposed to be the sky, you know, the little clouds. And I looked at it and I was like, oh my god, pale purple for the sky? No way, that's not gonna work. Maybe my DMC, the conversion is not as good or something, so, you know. But anyways, I followed her directions anyways. And as you can see, when you put it in there and you look at it from a distance, those really look like faraway clouds. It's genius. I love it, because I really wanted to substitute it with like a bluer color, you know, very light blue or something, because that's, to me, you know, clouds, well, the sky it really is blue, but you know what I mean, the clouds should be bluish, but the purple works out amazingly. So again, when you doubt her color choices, just go with it. Martina knows what she's doing, and twice now I've thought, is this really right? Maybe I should substitute it. No, just go with her design. It's beautiful. It will work out. So the last piece I'm doing, I've been working on the tulip flower border for the last whole week now, really. It's been a little bit slow going this week. I haven't felt really well, so I haven't done a lot of stitching. I've mostly just wanted to sleep all day. So yeah, I'm hoping to finish the flowers this weekend, and then I'll probably start another panel. I don't know if I want to start the right panel or maybe go to the bottom. The bottom means that I can just flip it around and not worry about the stitch going different directions. Oh, this is the other tip. You know how they all say when you stitch a chatelaine to mark one corner or mark the top of your work so you know which way goes up? Do it. Do it, do it, do it. I did mine a little bit, but it wasn't like a huge visible mark or something. But even with that, I can't count how many times in this square that I picked up my Q-snap and I started stitching, or I just started flipping it around to make it easier to stitch without realizing that my stitches were going the entirely wrong direction. So it is such an easy mistake to make, especially when you're watching a show and stitching at the same time. So please, please, please mark the top of your chatelaine very, very clearly. So yeah, that is about it. Those are all my projects that I've been working on for the last 3.5 months. I guess I should be ashamed that I didn't really work on any of my old whips, but you know, as long as I'm really enjoying these new projects, especially this chatelaine, and you know, the other ones will get done at some point. Not too worried about it. I'm sure when summer comes around, or maybe when I make a major boo-boo with this design, that at some point I'll abandon it for a bit, take a break, and stitch on something else. But yeah, it's been really, really fun stitching these, and I can see why some people can devote their entire life just stitching chatelaines, because she makes so many beautiful designs. I already have 3 charts purchased, one of them kitted up as well, and there's going to be so many more in the future. So anyways, thank you so much for listening. Again, I'm so sorry that it took me so long to make another video. I'll try to be better. This school year is busy, but it's kind of rounding up. I have 3 more weeks left, and then it's summer and there's no school till September. So hopefully you'll see lots more videos from me, and I still have to show you my stash. There's a lot of new charts I purchased over the holidays and whatnot, so one of these days I definitely will do that. So thanks again for watching, and have a lovely stitchy weekend.